Good evening. We have some big breaking news, some exciting news. There was a special election in Iowa earlier today, and a Democrat flipped the seat by more than 11 points. Donald Trump won the seat by 11 points, and this person won the seat by 11 points. So in other words, it was flipped by about 22%. A Democrat in Iowa flipped a Donald Trump district. There's Jen Psaki speaking a little bit more about this.
Hopeful news out of Iowa to end with, where a special election was held today to fill a critical state Senate seat. Last month, Iowa Republicans selected their candidate for the seat, a controversial political strategist named Christopher Prosh, who, among other things, has suggested that abortion is worse than the Holocaust, has pushed conspiracy theories about 9/11, vaccines, climate change, and still actively denies the results of the 2020 election. Quite the resume, that guy. Now, for their part, Iowa Democrats selected Catelin Drey, a local marketing executive and founder of the progressive political advocacy group Moms for Iowa. Tonight, the results of the election are in, and in a stunning upset, Democrat Catelin Drey has won the seat. Her victory officially breaks Republican supermajority in the Iowa State Senate, meaning Democrats finally have the ability to block Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds' nominees to state agencies, boards, and commissions. All very good news for Democrats in Iowa.
Does that not make you super excited? That makes me feel a little relieved, and a little hopeful. What is that feeling? What is that feeling? Hope? Am I feeling hope for the first time in a while? Wow. We had an election and a Democrat won. It was an election where Donald Trump carried that district, but a Democrat won it. I would like to see more of that. A little bit more about this. Like I said, Drey won with 55% of the vote to Republican Christopher Prosh's 44%, which is still worrying because of everything that Jen Psaki said about him, an election denier, saying abortion is worse than anything else. But just a little bit more about Catelin Drey. We should remember that name. She lives in Sioux City with her husband and daughter and works as a marketing executive. She says she named high costs. This is, I think, really important. She named high costs and education funding that keep the pace or exceeds inflation as her top issue. Quote, overwhelmingly, the main frustration point that I'm hearing is that we have an affordability crisis, whether that's housing, childcare, or healthcare. Drey said in an interview before the election, quote, and folks are really feeling that in their pocketbooks and in their spending decisions. That's also the same message that Zohran Mamdani ran on, and coincidentally, it's the same message that Trump ran on, only Trump lied on that message, and he's only made affordability worse in this country. And just keep your eye on Iowa, because we have a great candidate there named Rob Sand. If you don't know him, you're going to know him soon. He is running for governor of Iowa, a Democrat. He's actually currently a statewide elected Democrat in Iowa. So he's won statewide before. He can do it again. Let's keep an eye on him. Here's just a little bit of Rob.
The phrase came out, call people out. I want to call people in. Come here. Let's talk about this. We have to be able to have a conversation, right? Because if we push people away, raise your hand if you've ever been convinced you were wrong by being yelled at.
I like this guy. Watch him. Now, it's really interesting that he's talking about bringing people in, because that's the complete opposite of what MAGA Republicans are doing. A constituent asked Josh Brechin of Oklahoma, who held a town hall. I love when Republicans hold town halls. And she asked him about his support for a public option. Here's what he had to say.
Previously expressed that you want to make America healthy again, aka MAHA. Without the marketplace created by ACA or Medicaid expansion, many wouldn't be able to afford health insurance or health care. In order to make America healthy again, would you support health care reform that offers a public option to all Americans, such as Japan's model, which prices premiums based on income and is available for all residents to opt into if they wish?
So you give me a little bit of information there. I would need to know a whole lot more. I am absolutely in favor of the MAHA movement. I met early on with RFK, with a group of us, because with Marco Rubio, who's now Secretary of State, he allowed me to join him when I first got to Congress on the making all SNAP formerly known generations ago as food stamps, to make all SNAP purchases be free of the unhealthy elements of dessert and certain things that we know drive up obesity rates for kiddos, and just, you know, all the correlations, long-term effects of health outcomes. And so I know, based upon what Callie means, who's been a large part of the RFK MAHA movement, Callie has told me personally that our bill that I now have with Mike Lee is a priority for them. We're continuing to push that, y'all, that if you are going to be on SNAP and receiving food assistance.
So she asked about a public option. He's talking about kicking poor people off a SNAP if they want to buy soda with it.
We think it's more than wise for the long-term health outcomes for people that may also be eligible for Medicaid, long-term other, when they turn 65, be eligible for Medicare. It is a great investment in its wisdom to make sure we're not allowing the purchase of sugary drinks and prepackaged desserts, and that healthy foods become the standard model again, and that leads to great outcomes, which...
Okay, this guy is really not operating with his full faculties, is he? There's another clip here where he was asked about how, like I said, Donald Trump was brought on to lower grocery prices, but they're actually getting higher. And Brechin. Sorry, there's too many Congress people to know all their names. So someone can correct me in the comments, I'm sure. But here's what he had to say to that.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I had a couple of related questions. One is I've heard President Trump say more than once that he has lowered drug prices by 1,500%. I'm not sure how that works. And the other is, can you tell me what specific bills we've passed or worked on that would lower grocery prices?
Yeah. Well, ma'am, you're talking about things relative to state level. And so you're mixing federal and state in terms of if you look at what the 18 enumerated powers say, the 18 enumerated powers that when every member of Congress holds up their hand and swears an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution. And most people who run for Congress don't know those 18 enumerated powers. And they don't know the 10th Amendment that says the power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states or reserved to the states or their people respectively. And so what I'm saying to you is Oklahoma, if you want to have that conversation about grocery taxes, they've been having that conversation. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, but relative to constitutional authority and the way that I have my staff analyze things, what we're allowed to do.
Man, didn't Donald Trump run on lowering prices? Now this guy's saying that the federal government can't control that. Anyway, someone says, hey, bro, we actually get to regulate interstate commerce and set tariffs. Lots of handy ways to address the cost of living. If you're going to disassemble about our enumerated powers, you could bother to read them, LOL. Ron Filipkowski also said this. He said, and just like that, federal officials have no ability to impact prices with policy. Not what I heard from 2021 to 2024, but if that's what you want to run on next year, go ahead. Yeah, so they should suffer at the ballot box for this, but they won't. There's a lot more of this online. I love town hall season with Republicans because they have to actually meet their constituents, and they usually do a terrible job, as this guy did. But let's end it with the good news. What we started at the top, which is that Iowa flipped. We flipped the state house. There's no longer a supermajority. It's a sign of good things. It's a small dose of hope. I hope you're feeling it. I hope you will stick around, subscribe, like this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.